Hello everybody, and welcome to Ancient Architects. Please subscribe now to get the latest ancient history news and independent research from around the world. Whatever part of the world you start researching, you can't help but come across some truly bizarre features of the landscape, created by humans but with no obvious function, mind-boggling mysteries of our ancient past. In Peru's Pisco Valley, across the rugged Cajamarquilla Plain, we find this incredible feature known as the Band of Holes. What we are looking at is a highly unusual feature, being thousands of small depressions running upslope, and nobody really knows exactly what it is. Is it some kind of Nazca-inspired geoglyph? Is it a defensive barrier or something else? Who was the culture behind it? And can we find out when it was made? Taking a closer look, and there are around 7,000 depressions, all of which are around 3 feet wide and 20 to 40 inches in depth. The Band of Holes itself is 65 feet wide and extends across the landscape for nearly a mile. I originally saw a website that said they were dug into volcanic bedrock, but looking at a more credible report that was made by archaeologists, and some of the holes are dug into artificial mounds of soil, and some of them are simply small rock structures. They can be divided into several groups or blocks, each of which had different patterns of holes. Drones have been sent up and detailed maps have been made. Experts have calculated that a team of 100 workers could have created the entire feature in just 1 month, or a small team of 10 workers could have made it in 300 days, but most think they were dug gradually over a long period of time. This isn't a difficult feature to create. It doesn't involve rock cutting, it's just the overall bizarre appearance that creates the mystery and wonder. The entire site was carefully surveyed, and the remains of an Inca road was found nearby, not to mention a series of kolkas or storage houses from the Inca period. Experts also found a wide variety of Inca pottery. The site is relatively close to the home of the Chincha people, who were conquered by the Inca in the 15th century. Therefore, although the evidence is all circumstantial, experts believe the best interpretation is that this bizarre band of holes is the work of the Inca, although earlier finds in future excavations could push the dating back. The site is only 4 miles away from Tambo, Colorado, a large 15th century Inca administrative centre built above the Pisco Valley, which was known for its agricultural land during Inca rule and before. But what are these holes for? The main body of thought is that these holes or mini basins were actually made to measure out tributes, so each person or village could pay the right amount of tax to the Inca Empire, payment being of course in the form of produce and not money. The thinking is that each block of holes belonged to a specific group of people, or maybe an extended family or village. Maybe each group of people had to fill their allotted holes with maize, squash, beans, chilies and other produce. Maybe the Inca accountants of the day were stood waiting to watch the holes being filled, ensuring people paid their taxes when they were told. The produce could then have been transferred to the kolkas or storage houses. It really isn't a bad theory, but it seems like a strange location to do this, and why not just get the people, the subjects of the empire, to walk to an important Inca stronghold and not to some isolated outpost? Were this many holes also needed for such a practice, and why the snake-like pattern? No human remains have been found and no specific offerings, so for once I can say that this is not a temple or tomb, and it doesn't seem to have any obvious ritual significance. It's just a line of empty holes extending for nearly a mile. I propose a different idea, and it's thanks to the work of William James Veal. It is known that this particular region has suffered from a lack of water, with no obvious regular supply. Rain was often in the form of infrequent heavy storms, interspersed with light rain. With such a climate, a water collection, filtration, storage and supply system was needed, and it's estimated that each cell could hold 5 litres of water, meaning a total capacity of 35,000 litres. And yes, these features are not dug into the bedrock, but they were not meant to be. They are made on top of a band of porous limestone. Without some kind of collection system, rainwater would wash away into the valley, but having a system of collection ponds means you could concentrate water into the porous limestone, which would then seep down and fill the underlying aquifer, activating springs more often. The seepage would also filter the water. Veal also believes he's spotted geometric patterns and imagery that's formed by the arrangement of the holes, with flowers, faces and animals, which he interprets as being the work of a foreign culture. It could be pure coincidence, or it could be an intentional part of the design. That's really for you to decide. He believes they are pre-Inca, but as far as I can see, he hasn't considered the lack of pre-Inca archaeology. But if this is another example of a fine, ingenious Peruvian water management system, then it wouldn't be out of context being Inca, a people we know understood exactly how to manage water, as shown in my previous videos. They could harness springs, canalise rivers, create reservoirs and so on. The holes probably snake across the area because it's possible they are following a natural geological bedding plane or feature, allowing water to seep into the correct rock bed to fill the aquifer below. More work needs to be done on these holes, especially by art historians, to really map the site and look for patterns, to cross-reference the work of Veal and see if we can get an earlier date for this site by looking at the iconography included. What do you think of this site? Please leave your thoughts in the comments section below, and if I find anything more, I'll be sure to make a follow-up video. For those that have followed this channel in recent weeks, I just want to let you know that my video on the golden Inca altar of the Coricancha is coming. It's a work in progress as I continue to read and translate more papers on the subject. I'm also working on a video on the Mortaval culture, those who settled in the Cusco Valley before both the Wari and Inca civilizations, a truly fascinating subject that really helps us to understand the development of this important centre of Peru. Thank you very much for watching this episode of Ancient Architects. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel, please like the video, and please leave a comment below. Thank you very much.